All right. Well, hello, everyone. Yeah, my name is Wednesday Wilkins. I am a member of the Sandia Doll Club of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'm also a huge Barbie collector. And today I wanted to go ahead and give a presentation on how to identify early Barbie dolls. They're my specialty. They're my favorite ones to collect, and I would love to be able to share some of my knowledge with people and maybe help people identify some dolls that they may have. So let me go ahead and get the present. First off, we will be here today with all of our Barbie friends and figuring out how to identify our vintage Barbies together. First, I did want to go over just some few key rules about what I'll be talking about today. And that's going to be, I'm only going to be talking about dolls made with the Barbie body specifically. So no Ken or Skipper or Francie or anything today. It's just going to be Barbie and dolls that share her body. Next, I'm going to be talking about only dolls that were made with straight legs. So none of like the bendable leg Barbie or Miss Barbie or anything like that from the mid 60s. And finally, I'm only going to be talking about dolls made specifically before 1967, so before the mod era came in. Uh, All right, so I guess to start off, well, the first thing that we'll be talking about today are ponytails. They are the first, the original, the classic that everyone really knows of Barbie is her sleek ponytail with her poodle bangs, and so that's where we're going to start with today. The first doll that I would like to talk about is the original of the number one ponytail Barbie. She was first released to the world in 1959. She originally was released with either blonde or brunette hair, styled into a high ponytail with a top knot and a hard curl on the end, as well as tight poodle bangs. And she also came with a flocked scalp made with the same color of her hair. Her body was made of a very heavy, solid vinyl that over time fades to like a pale ivory to white color, and it tends to smell like Crayola crayons. Unique to the number one is she was made with holes in the soles of her feet that had copper tubing inserted that were to be used with the included doll stand that she comes with. Here at the bottom, you can see the actual tubes and what they look like with the doll themselves. For her face, she has very thick, dramatic black and white eyes. Like no other Barbie really looks like her because of these white eyes. She has the thick black liner around her whole eye. She has like a blue eyeshadow on her eyelid, as well as tends to have a smoky shadow under her brows. She has upside down V or arched mountain-like eyebrows. They're very unique to her as well. They tend to match the same color as the hair. She has red lips and red fingernail and toenail polishes. Early number ones tended to have a hand painted face where you could see visible brush strokes in her face paint. Later on, they moved to stencils, and so you ended up not really seeing that. The doll here on the left is one with a stenciled face, so it's more clean lines. And a mark on her body, which would be on her butt, pretty much on her right rear cheek, would be marked Barbie TM Pat's Pen, copyright 1958 by Mattel Inc. That was the mark that was used for the early dolls, and that started with her. Uh, so the stuff that comes with her first is included the iconic black and white striped strapless swimsuit, a pair of black open-toed shoes that had holes in the soles to be used with her stand, a pair of white cat eye sunglasses with blue lenses, a pair of gold hoop earrings. The actual pedestal stand, it was black, it was marked with Barbie TM by Mattel, and had two prongs that stuck up that inserted into her feet. She included a pink booklet that said Barbie Teenage Fashion Model, and it had a TM next to the Barbie, uh, and as well as the box, which is the first edition box, which I have written here with Gay Parisian marked in the center. And the first edition box was also marked with Barbie TM, just like all the early stuff was. But that was all of the stuff that was included with the original Barbie when she first was released. Next, we will have the number two ponytail Barbie. She was also released in 1959. She is identical to the number one, except she no longer was made with holes in her feet, as well as her shoes no longer having the holes. And so to make up for having pretty much a new doll with needing a different type of stand, they used the same black pedestal base, but instead of putting the prongs, they put a hole near the center and included a wire that held it all under her arms, and that was the new stand. It was either marked TM or R, Well, actually, the number 2 was just marked TM, but it was her box was marked TM or R, and she also came with either a TM or R marked Barbie only booklet. So pretty much identical to the number 1, just a different stand, pretty much. Next up, we will have the number 3 ponytail Barbie. She is from 1960, and she's pretty much identical to a number 2, except she's been given a new face. In 1960, they decided to refresh her face, give her a softer look with the curved eyebrows, a light blue eye, and gave her either blue or brown eyeshadow. This was the only year where they offered 2 different varieties, and was the only year where brown was available. And blue is also more rare for this year. She came with all the same accessories as the number 2 does, except she could have come with either hoop earrings or pearl stud earrings. She would have come in a either R marked or TM marked first edition box like the other 2, and she would have also come with the pink Barbie booklet that's just marked R now. She has the same body marking, so the Barbie TM on the back, and then her stand is similar to the number 2, except the hole to hold the wire is located towards the back of the base. And it would either be marked Barbie TM or Barbie R by Mattel, and it would still include the same T-shaped wire that would hold the doll. So very similar to the number 2, they just really updated her face to make her seem more alive. I don't know what it is about the number 1s and 2s, but they seem very strong in the face. And I think what they did with the number 3, giving her the blue eyes, really livened her up. And I think that was one thing they really wanted to do with the doll. Before we go on to the next ponytail, I did want to talk a little bit about something known as a transitional doll. They are Barbies that were made between the transition between the number 3 and the number 4, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Since Mattel was super like cost saving and wanted to use every little bit they had to make their toys, they were just toys for kids. They would just use what bits they had for their bodies. And so some bits were made with old vinyl that faded like the number 3, but also were parts made with like a number 4 were made with a vinyl that didn't fade. So you'd see combinations of dolls like these with a white torso but tan rest of the body, or a white head and a tan body, or anything. And so it was always a combination of the head, torso, arms, and legs. But when it comes to the arms and legs, they will always match. So it won't be like mismatch where it's one number 3 arm, one number 4 arm. So it's interesting to see what combinations really come up, because it'd be really any combination of these body parts. Next, we have the number 4 ponytail, like I just mentioned. She is very similar to the number 3, was also available in 1960. She was no longer available with the brown eyeshadow, just the blue, but she uses a new vinyl formula that ended up no longer fading over time. So number 4s you find nowadays still have the tan flesh color that she was released with 65 years ago now. She came in the same first edition box with the R markings. She came with the same R marked Barbie booklet. She only came with pearl stud earrings. The hoops were no longer used, but all the same accessories were still used. So the black and white swimsuit, the glasses, and the black shoes. Her stand is very similar to the number 3's, except it was marked Barbie R by Mattel instead of the TM. And she also had the same body markings as the first 3 with the Barbie TM. There are some later number 4s that may have a Barbie R marking, which is the markings that they added on following into 1961 when they introduced a new body, which I'll go over in just a moment. But number 4s you can find with the TM or R markings. But other than that, they're pretty much the same. Right, next we have the number 5 ponytail. She was released in 1961. She used a new body mold that was made from a lightweight hollow vinyl that they molded it in, so it wasn't a solid piece. It was just like a blow mold almost. And so it had the Barbie R marking on the back instead of Barbie TM. They also used a different vinyl for the head this year that may cause the head to look oily or to sweat, which is usually due to just the vinyl itself breaking down over the years. You could probably remove it. I know you definitely can remove it, but it will just most likely come back since it is just how the vinyl's falling apart at this point. Um, uh, they used a new hair fiber this year. It caused the bangs to be a looser, coarser curl than the tight poodle bangs of the 1 through 4. The scalp was no longer flocked, and they added a new hair color, which is the Titian, which is a redhead. They added that in with the blonde and brunette, so you could choose between the three. And here at the bottom, it shows like the bottom of a box that has it says Tish and ponytail, so it shows what the bottom looked like and what it was like to try to pick out the doll. It would show what's included. And this is the first doll that comes with an all-wire stand, no pedestal base. They just did a one piece, and so instead of a circle base, it was a rectangle attached in the wire. They were also one of the first Barbies that came with a wrist tag. Here at the bottom, it shows a red wrist tag. I know there's a red one, there's a purple one, and like a pink one are all like the earliest known ones. But the number 5 and maybe a number 4 were the first ones to really come with them. And this was also the first doll that came with the new booklet that included Ken, since this was the year Ken was released. So the booklet she comes with shows both Barbie and Ken on the front, but it's still the pink one. But compared to like a number 4, her face is very similar. The blue eyeshadow, the brows matching the hair, the red lips. But the number 5 are there's just so many of them. They're such gorgeous dolls though, but they're very easy to find though, but they are really nice. Yeah. Next up, we have the number 6 ponytail. She came out in 1962. She was released with a variety of shades of hair color, different blondes like ash blonde and lemon blonde, as well as reds and brunettes. She was also had a variety of lips and nail colors, ranging all the way from like pink, like the blonde on the very bottom has, to just bright red, like the prior dolls had. This year, they included a new swimsuit for her. So instead of the black and white suit with the black shoes and glasses, she had this red one-piece Helenka swimsuit, red open-toed shoes, and pearl stud earrings. This was also the year that they introduced her with a new box. So instead of the first edition box, like with Gay Parisian in the middle, it's now this one, which I marked with red flare in the middle bottom. But all of these fashions are pretty well known and identifiable. So it's a much more easier to spot box and knowing what's on it.
Mhm.
She came with the blue Barbie and Ken booklet. Uh, that was the one that came out that year, and they used it through 62, somewhat into 63 as well. So you'd find it through that era. And this was also when they introduced a new wrist tag, which was the gold one, which I believe is the one they used most often with the Barbies from like the mid 60s. But that was most of her number for the number 6. They tend to have a lot of the similar face to a number 5, but very different when it comes to like the way the faces are done. They have very different lip colors and shapes, lots of variety, lots of different like hair textures and consistencies. You can see these dolls have very different bangs to each other. So there's lots of variety you can find with them, but there's lots of things that are also just similar between them. Next up, we have the number 7 ponytail. She is from 1963. This is the year where they introduced her with a new fuller face to fit the new body, which had a wider neck knob on it. So to hold the head on it, they actually made it wider for use with Midge, which was the year this was the year Midge came out. So this was also the year that the body got new markings, which included Midge's copyright information as well as Barbie's to her back side. And so it's so they could use the same body between the two. Um, this was also the year when they added a date to the box. I did forget to mention for 62, the box was undated, and in this year they added a date. And so you can see here on the side, the box that's on top has no dates on it, but the one on the very bottom of the box is like Barbie and teenage fashion model are trademarks owned by Mattel, copyright 1962. So they added that in 63 to the boxes. And instead of just the all black stand, she could have come with either black or gold wire stand. This is when they started introducing the gold stand. That later became more uh, common with the dolls, but this was when they started doing either or. And this was also the year when the Barbie Ken and Midge booklet was available. There were 3 different colors, and I haven't found a pattern yet for how they were distributed between them, but I do know those are the 3 that were used between all of the dolls and the fashions available at the time. And next is the number 8 ponytail Barbie. She is made from 64 to 65 and around that time, and she's identical to the number 7, except the word patented was added to the body markings. So it's the same Midge TM and Barbie R by Mattel Inc. patented. So they just added that to the end, and it's pretty much the exact same doll. It was made through like 65. This was the last Barbie that was made with the poodle bangs or the curly bangs. This is when they stopped doing that and they decided to move on to the swirl ponytail. She was first released in 1964, and she included a new hairstyle, which was instead of the curly bangs, she had bangs swooped around her head, and it wrapped around her ponytail, and it was secured to the base of the hairline with a yellow ribbon and a mini bobby pin, which is up at the top right, and had a loose curl at the end, and came in a variety of shades: blonde, brunette, red, platinum, lemon blonde, lots of different things. She came in a variety of lip and nail colors, and some of these lip and nail colors tend to fade over the years to yellow or white. Like on the side, the brunette with yellow lips, she most likely had like a corally color back in the day. And the platinum on the bottom with white lips, she most likely had like like bubblegum pink lips. For some reason, those tended to fade to white over the years. And then the corals tended to fade to yellow. It's very strange, but it's one thing I've noted. She would have had the same body markings as the number 7 and 8s. So either the Barbie Midge or the Barbie Midge patented added at the end. She would have come with the gold wire stand. She would have come in the dated second edition box. And the booklet she included was the exclusive Fashions by Mattel, which featured art of Barbie, Ken, Midge, as well as the new Alan and Skipper. And there were 4 different versions of the book. They were all either marked book 1, 2, 3, or 4. This there's just the one example I have. This is just the one I had, but that was they all either looked like that. It was one of the 4. So yeah, and so we can see here at the bottom like the swoop of the bangs, the way that they really pulled the hair in and secured it, and the way it had the loose curl. It's very unique to just the swirl, and her hair is just so fun. I just love it. All right, and then next up we will have the bubble cuts. The ponytail was around for a good long while, but in 1961 they wanted to add something new, and so that's what we'll be talking about first is the 1961 bubble cut. She was pretty much the same base doll as a number 5. She had the same body markings. She may also have the same oily face problems. The only difference is the new hairstyle. They were mostly small, tight bubbles close to the head in blonde, brunette, Tishan, brownette, which was a Sears exclusive for the year, and white ginger. White ginger is very similar to the blonde, except her hair was like a lighter shade of blonde almost. It was very pale white blonde, and instead of the red lips, she had bubblegum pink lips. She also had like a more turquoise eye color compared to the rest, which were more blue. But it was really the bubblegum pink lips that really stand her out to the others. And then the brownette is like the brunette, but her hair is more of a light sable brown compared to the brunette. And the brownette is very hard to find nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But all the accessories she comes with would have been the exact same as number 5. So the black and white swimsuit, the Barbie and Ken booklet, the all wire stand, everything would have been the same. It's just the different hair. And you can see here on the bottom that the mark, instead of saying ponytail, it says white ginger bubble cut. So that's how they really differentiated with the boxes, that they had the sticker on the bottom. Right. Next, we have the 1962 bubble cut. She's pretty much the same base doll as a number 6, but she came in lots of various hair colors of blondes, brunettes, reds, even shades like platinum, who is on the top right on the left side of the screen, whose hair tends to oxidize to a darker blonde and lips will fade to white, like with the swirls, so that they give them these pink lips that over years will just fade to white. And so that's one easy way to like spot them and compare them to like a blonde of the year. They did use various shades of lip and nail color this year. Watermelon was actually the most common. 3 of the dolls here have different shades of watermelon lips, and so it was very common just to see different shades of the watermelon, corals, pinks. Um, she would have come in an undated second edition box. Here on the side, you can see the platinum bubble cut marks, but it doesn't say the 1962 date. And then she would have had the same accessories as the number 6, so the red swimsuit with the red shoes, the pearls, and then the blue Barbie and Ken booklet. And she would have also had the same body markings as the number 5, number 6, the Barbie R Pat's Pens with the hollow body. Next up, we will have the bubble cuts made between 63 and 67. These are the same base dolls as number 7s, number 8s, and swirls, really. They came in various shades and sizes of hair. The later issues of bubble cuts tend to have really full, large bubbles, like this red head up in the top left. They had various lip and nail colors, mainly corals, lots of corals, nudie pinks, light pinks. She came with a stated second edition box. She came with different booklets based off the year of release. They had so many different booklets made from these like 5 years that it varies on what booklet your made doll may come with. But her body markings would be the same as the number 7 or 8 with the Midge and Barbie marks and patented added after 1964. Next up, I wanted to talk about Fashion Queen Barbie. She's a huge favorite of mine. She was introduced in 1963 and made through 65, and she was the first Barbie to have molded hair. It was painted brunette with a light blue vinyl band wrapped around. She came with 3 fashion wigs, a blonde bubble cut, a red flip, and a brunette page boy that were included on a white wig stand. She came in a golden white striped strapless swimsuit with a zipper back, a turban and a matching fabric, white shoes, and pearl studs. She came with a unique Fashion Queen box and wrist tag, which I have here in the center, that were just hers. No one else came with those. She had a black wire stand, and she had the same markings as the later doll. So the Midge Barbie marks or patented added if it was after 64. But she was such a special one since fashion, like the fashion wigs were such a huge thing for that time in the 60s. And I imagine were just something kids were just immediately gravitated towards. And so she's very much an easy one to identify since she really is the only straight-legged Barbie with molded hair from the 60s. But so she's pretty easy to find, pretty easy to identify, but she's such a gorgeous doll and I love her so much. And
Mm.
then finally, the one I wanted to talk about today is Midge. She is from 1963 and she was made through 66. She was Barbie's first best friend, and the same body was used between the two. So they have the same marking. So the Midge Barbie marks with the patented added after 64. She came in either a blonde, brunette, or Tishan flip with bangs. She came in a two-piece swimsuit that correlated with the hair color, as well as a pair of white open-toed shoes. On the bottom, you can actually see a photo of the 3 different hair colors with the swimsuit that correlates to them. So if you have a midge with a certain hair color, that's the swimsuit she should have or would have come with back in the day. Um, she had a unique midge box and wrist tag. Her box had Barbie in Garden Party on it, and it was a very cute one. But it's just unique to her. She was the only one that had that. She would have come with either a black or gold wire stand. And for early midges, they actually had a shorter hairstyle, like this one right in the middle of the screen. They had like a shorter flip that was just like the mid of their head. And they tended to have wonkier eyes, like looking in 2 different directions, as well as like an open, like a painted teethy smile, as well as may not even having freckles. Sometimes they just didn't even give Midge freckles or they gave her teeth. And so the early ones tended to look a little bit different. And actually, the next to the so next to actually the midge in the center, you can actually see a box where it's the image of her with a headband, and that actually, the boxes with Midge wearing a headband are actually the earlier ones. So midges that come in that box tended to be the ones with short hair or were more derpier looking. And later on, on the left next to the main 3 faces, that box without the headband is actually the later one that most of the straight-legged midges would have come on. But yeah, she had the same markings. She pretty much the same body. They had like the same corally lips, nail colors. So it was just different heads. But she had like a neutral coral lips, varying shades of brown for her eyeshadow, as well as a brow color matching her hair. But yeah, Midge is pretty easy to identify just because she had such a unique face compared to Barbie, and so she's usually pretty easy to identify based off of just what she looks like. Right. Well, I I guess that's going to be it because that's all I really have for y'all today. So I want to say thank you all for watching and bye Barbies and thank you.
Can I